Is this the recompense of mine to thee, ingrateful Eve? Expressed immutable when thou art lost, not I, who might have lived, enjoyed immortal bliss, but willingly chose rather death with thee. Am I now upbraided as the cause of thy transgressing? Not enough severe, it seems, in thy restraint. What could I more? I warned thee, I admonished thee, foretold the danger and the lurking enemy. But confidence then bore thee on, secure either to meet no danger or to find matter of glorious trial. And perhaps I also erred in overmuch admiring what seemed in thee so perfect, that I thought no evil durst attempt thee. But I rue that error now, which is become my crime, and thou the accuser. Thus it shall befall to him who to worth in women over-trusting lets her will rule, restraint she will not brook, and left to herself, if evil thence ensue, she first his weak indulgence will accuse. Oh, why did God, creator wise, that peopled highest heaven with spirits masculine, created last this novelty on earth, this fair defect of nature, and not fill the world at once with men as angels, without feminine? Out of my sight, thou serpent! That name best fits thee with him lead, thyself as false and hateful. Nothing wants but that thy shape, like his, and color serpentine, may show thy inward fraud, to warn all creatures from thee henceforth, lest that too heavenly form pretended to hellish falsehood snare them. But for thee I had persisted happy, had not thy pride and wandering vanity, when least was safe, rejected my forewarning, disdained not to be trusted, longing to be seen, though by the devil himself, him overweening.
Oh, take me not thus, Adam. Witness heaven what love, fear, and reverence in my heart I bear thee, and unwitting have offended, unhappily deceived. Thy suppliant I beg, and clasp thy knee. Bereave me not. Hereon I live, thy gentle aid, thy looks, thy counsel in thy uttermost distress, my only strength and stay. Alone of thee, whither shall I go, where subsist? Thou to me art all things under heaven. While yet we live, scarce one short hour perhaps, between us two let there be peace. Both joined, as joined in injuries, one enmity against a foe by doom express assigned us. That cruel serpent, on me exercise not thy hatred for this misery befallen, on me already lost, me than thyself more miserable. Both have sinned, but thou against God only, I against God and thee. And to the place of judgment will return there with my cries, importune heaven that all the sentence from thy head removed may light on me. Sole cause to thee of all this woe. Me only, just object of his ire.
Unwary, and too desirous as before. So now, of what thou knowest not, desirest the punishment all on thyself? Alas, ill able to sustain as yet least part of what thou knowest not, bear thine own first. But rise. Let us no more contend, nor blame each other. Blamed enough elsewhere, but let us strive in offices of love, how we may serve to lighten each other's share of woe.
Restored by thee, vile as I am, to place of new acceptance, hopeful to regain thy love, the sole contentment of my heart. Living or dying for thee, I will not hide what thoughts in my unquiet breast are risen, tending to some relief of our extremes. The race unblessed, to being yet unbegot. Childless thou art, childless remain, so death may be deceived his glut, and with us too be forced to satisfy his ravenous maw. But if thou judge it hard and difficult, conversing, looking, loving, to abstain from love's due rites, nuptial embraces sweet, then let us satisfy with our own hands his office on ourselves. Why stand we longer shivering under fears that show no end but death, and have the power of many ways to die the shortest, choosing destruction with destruction to destroy?
Eve, thy contempt of life and pleasure seems to argue in thee something more excellent and sublime than what thy mind contemns. But self-destruction, therefore sought, refutes that thought in thee, and implies not thy contempt, but anguish and regret for loss of life and pleasure overloved. No more be mentioned then of violence to ourselves, or willful barrenness, that cuts us off from hope, and savors only rancor and pride, impatience and despite, reluctance against God, and his just yoke laid about our necks. Remember with what mild and gracious temper he both heard and judged, without wrath or reviling. We expected immediate dissolution, which we thought was meant by death that day, when lo, to thee, pains only in childbearing were foretold, and bringing forth, soon recompensed with joy. On me the curse slope glanced on the ground. With labor I must earn my bread. What harm? Idleness had been worse. What better can we do than to the place repairing where he judged us, and prostrate fall before him reverent, and humbly confess our faults and pardon beg, with the ground watering with our tears, and with our sighs the air frequenting, sent from hearts contrite, in sign of sorrow unfeigned and humiliation meek. Undoubtedly, he will relent, and turn from his displeasure, on whose look serene, when angry most he seemed, what else but favor, grace, and mercy shown?
This having learnt, thou hast attained the sum of wisdom, hope no higher. Though all the stars thou knewest by name, and all the ethereal powers, all secrets of the deep, all nature's works, or works of God in heaven, air, earth, or sea, and all the riches of this world enjoyedest, and all rule one empire. Add only deeds to thy knowledge answerable. Add faith, add virtue, patience, temperance, add love, by name to come called charity, the soul of all the rest. Then wilt thou not be loath to leave this paradise, but shalt possess a paradise within thee, happier far.
Now lead on. In me is no delay. With thee to go is to stay here. Without thee, here to stay is to go hence unwilling. Thou to me art all things under heaven, all places thou, who for my willful crime art banished hence. This further consolation yet secure, I carry hence. Though all by me is lost, I unworthy am vouchsafed, The promised seed by me shall all restore.
In either hand, the hastening angel caught our lingering parents, and to the eastern gate led them direct, and down the cliff, as far to the subjected plain, then disappeared. Some natural tears they dropped, but wiped them soon. The world was all before them, where to choose their place of rest, and Providence their guide. They, hand in hand, with wandering steps and slow, through Eden took their solitary way.